Benjamin Disraeli 1868–1868. Benjamin Disraeli, born on December 21, 1804, was a prominent British statesman, novelist, and political figure in the 19th century. His multifaceted career spanned literature and politics, making him a unique and influential character in Victorian England. Disraeli's Jewish heritage and early struggles with social acceptance shaped his perspective, contributing to his resilience and determination. Beyond his literary achievements, including works such as Coningsby and Sybil, Disraeli's political career was marked by his affiliation with the Conservative Party. Despite facing prejudice and skepticism due to his Jewish background, Disraeli rose through the political ranks, eventually becoming one of the most notable prime ministers in British history. As we delve into the pivotal year of 1868 in Benjamin Disraeli's life, it is crucial to understand the broader political and social landscape of the time. The mid-19th century was characterized by significant transformations in British society, driven by industrialization, urbanization, and evolving ideas about governance. The political scene was dominated by the rivalry between the Conservative Party, led by Disraeli, and the Liberal Party, headed by William Gladstone. This era was marked by intense debates over critical issues such as electoral reform, workers' rights, and the role of the government in addressing societal challenges. The question of parliamentary representation and voting rights was particularly contentious, reflecting the broader push for democratic ideals in Victorian Britain. Additionally, the nation was grappling with economic shifts, social inequalities, and the consequences of rapid industrial expansion. The demands for political and social reforms were gaining momentum, setting the stage for a transformative period in British history. Against this backdrop, Benjamin Disraeli emerged as a formidable political figure, navigating the complexities of a changing society and contributing to the shaping of Britain's future. Benjamin Disraeli was born into a Sephardic Jewish family on December 21, 1804, in London. His father, Isaac Disraeli, was a literary figure and scholar who played a significant role in shaping Disraeli's early intellectual interests. Despite the intellectual environment at home, Disraeli faced challenges due to his Jewish heritage. The prevailing anti-Semitic sentiments in 19th-century England subjected him to prejudice and discrimination. These early experiences fueled his determination to overcome societal barriers and make a mark in both literature and politics. Disraeli's education was irregular, reflecting his unconventional path. He was largely self-taught, drawing inspiration from literature, philosophy, and political thought. His exposure to various intellectual currents during this period significantly influenced his later writings and political ideology. Before entering politics, Disraeli embarked on a literary career. His novels, such as Vivian Grey and Coningsby, not only showcased his literary prowess but also provided insights into his political ideas. These works gained attention for their vivid characters and exploration of societal issues. Disraeli's entry into politics was marked by initial setbacks. His first attempt to enter Parliament in 1832 was unsuccessful, and he faced ridicule for his flamboyant style and unconventional persona. However, these early failures did not deter him. Instead, they served as catalysts for his resilience and determination. Disraeli's political fortunes began to change in the 1830s as he aligned himself with the Conservative Party. His charisma, wit, and oratory skills gradually won over party leaders, and he became a rising star within conservative ranks. His strategic thinking and ability to connect with diverse audiences set the stage for his ascent within the political hierarchy. Disraeli's early political career involved a focus on foreign affairs. His speeches on issues like the Treaty of London, 1840, and the Eastern Question showcased his diplomatic acumen and earned him recognition as a statesman with a keen understanding of international relations. The Disraeli-Gladstone rivalry stands as one of the defining features of British politics in the Victorian era. Benjamin Disraeli, leading the Conservative Party, and William Gladstone, at the helm of the Liberal Party, were two towering figures with divergent political philosophies and contrasting visions for the future of the United Kingdom. Beyond their political differences, Disraeli and Gladstone were starkly different in personality and background. Disraeli, known for his wit, charm, and aristocratic flair, often appeared as an outsider challenging the established norms. In contrast, Gladstone was a stern and morally driven figure, reflecting a more traditional and earnest approach to politics. The Disraeli-Gladstone rivalry spans several decades, evolving through multiple general elections and political shifts. Their political jousting not only shaped the narratives of their respective parties but also influenced the trajectory of British governance during a critical period of social and political change. One of the central points of contention between Disraeli and Gladstone was the issue of electoral reform. Gladstone championed a more expansive and democratic approach, advocating for an extension of voting rights. In contrast, Disraeli was initially cautious about radical changes and sought a more measured and conservative approach to reform. The role of the state in addressing social issues and economic disparities was another battleground for Disraeli and Gladstone. Gladstone, driven by a commitment to individualism and laissez-faire economics, believed in a limited role for the government. Disraeli, however, saw a more active role for the state in addressing societal challenges, emphasizing the need for social reform. Disraeli and Gladstone also clashed on matters of foreign policy, particularly regarding Britain's imperial pursuits. Disraeli, with his imperialistic vision, pursued an assertive foreign policy that aimed to strengthen the British Empire. Gladstone, on the other hand, often questioned the moral and ethical implications of imperial expansion, advocating for a more restrained approach. Fiscal policy was a constant source of disagreement. Gladstone, known for his budgetary acumen, emphasized fiscal responsibility and reducing government expenditure. Disraeli, however, was more willing to employ state resources for social programs and initiatives, reflecting his belief in a more interventionist approach to economic matters. In summary, the Disraeli-Gladstone rivalry was a clash of ideologies and visions for the future of Britain. Their debates over electoral reform, the role of the state, foreign policy, and fiscal matters shaped the political landscape of the time and left a lasting imprint on the course of British history. The 1868 general election took place in the midst of dynamic social and political changes in Victorian Britain. The country was grappling with the consequences of industrialization, urbanization, and demands for increased democratic representation. The question of electoral reform loomed large, reflecting the broader societal push for political change. Prior to the election, Benjamin Disraeli had assumed the role of Prime Minister in February 1868, succeeding Lord Derby. As the leader of the Conservative Party, Disraeli sought to navigate the evolving political landscape and address pressing issues such as electoral reform and social inequalities. The Liberal Party, led by William Gladstone, presented a formidable opposition. Gladstone's commitment to electoral reform and a more liberal agenda resonated with a significant portion of the electorate. The Liberals sought to capitalize on the momentum of societal change and position themselves as champions of progress. The 1868 general election resulted in a victory for the Liberal Party. William Gladstone became the Prime Minister, marking a significant shift in the political landscape. Disraeli, accepting the outcome, tendered his resignation in December 1868. The election outcome prompted the Conservative Party, under Disraeli's leadership, to reassess its political strategy. The defeat led to a period of reflection and adaptation, as the party sought to understand the changing dynamics of British politics and position itself for future electoral success. Despite the electoral defeat, the Reform Act of 1867 and Disraeli's role in its passage left an enduring legacy. The extension of voting rights was a significant step toward a more inclusive and democratic political system, influencing subsequent electoral reforms in the years to come. In conclusion, the 1868 general election marked a crucial moment in British political history, reflecting the societal shifts and ideological battles of the time. The campaign strategies, centered around issues of electoral reform, economic policies, and foreign affairs, shaped the political discourse and set the stage for further developments in the Victorian era. Benjamin Disraeli's ascension to the position of Prime Minister in 1868 marked a significant chapter in British politics. Following the resignation after the 1868 general election, Disraeli was tasked with forming a government. Despite the electoral setback, his political acumen and leadership qualities earned him the confidence of his party, and he successfully formed a conservative government. Disraeli faced the challenge of uniting a party that had experienced internal divisions over issues such as electoral reform. His skillful coalition-building efforts involved bringing together different factions within the Conservative Party to ensure a cohesive and effective government. One of the defining achievements during Disraeli's term as Prime Minister was the passage of the Reform Act of 1867. This landmark legislation expanded voting rights by extending the franchise to a larger segment of the male population. Disraeli's advocacy for this reform was strategic, aimed at reconciling with popular demands for greater representation while also positioning the Conservative Party as a force for gradual, controlled change. Disraeli's approach to foreign policy was characterized by a robust imperialistic vision. He sought to enhance Britain's global standing and secure strategic interests, exemplified by the purchase of shares in the Suez Canal in 1875. This move solidified British influence in the Middle East and demonstrated Disraeli's commitment to expanding the reach of the British Empire. Disraeli's government also took steps toward addressing social issues. The Public Health Act of 1872 was a significant legislative milestone aimed at improving sanitation and living conditions in urban areas. This reflected a pragmatic approach to social reform, aligning with Disraeli's belief in the state's role in mitigating societal challenges. Disraeli's economic policies were characterized by a commitment to fiscal responsibility and the promotion of economic stability. While not as overtly interventionist as some of his predecessors, Disraeli's government pursued measures to maintain economic equilibrium and support the business community. As Prime Minister, Benjamin Disraeli recognized the need for political reform to address the growing demand for a more inclusive franchise. While the Conservative Party had historically been resistant to broadening the electorate, Disraeli's approach was strategic. He aimed to preempt more radical reforms proposed by the Liberal Party and position the Conservatives as proponents of gradual, controlled change. Disraeli engaged in negotiations with key figures in both parties to build consensus around the need for reform. By recognizing the inevitability of change and presenting the Reform Act as a conservative measure, he navigated internal opposition within his own party and secured the support necessary for the passage of the legislation. The Reform Act of 1867, also known as the Second Reform Act, extended the franchise to a broader section of the male population. It lowered property qualifications, granting voting rights to male householders and lodgers in boroughs, as well as to male landowners and tenants in the counties. While it did not establish universal suffrage, the act represented a significant step toward a more democratic and representative political system. In summary, the Reform Act of 1867, orchestrated by Benjamin Disraeli, marked a crucial turning point in British political history. The legislation addressed long-standing issues of political representation, reshaped the electorate, and set the stage for broader democratic reforms in the years to come. Disraeli's strategic approach, navigating internal party dynamics and responding to societal changes, played a pivotal role in the success and impact of the Reform Act. The legacy of 1868 is indelibly linked to the transformative leadership of Benjamin Disraeli. His strategic vision and pragmatic approach to governance played a pivotal role in reshaping the Conservative Party and adapting it to the changing political landscape. The enduring impact of Disraeli's leadership can be seen in the party's ability to remain a potent force in British politics. Disraeli's leadership defined a new direction for the Conservative Party. His emphasis on a one nation conservatism, which sought to bridge social divides and address societal challenges, became a guiding principle for the party. This ideological shift contributed to the party's ability to appeal to a wider cross-section of society and adapt to changing political dynamics. The events of 1868 and Disraeli's leadership contributed to a sense of social reconciliation in Britain. The Reform Act, while not fully addressing all issues of representation, symbolized a commitment to adapting the political system to accommodate the changing social fabric. Disraeli's emphasis on unity and social cohesion helped mitigate some of the tensions that had arisen from societal shifts. The political landscape post-1868 witnessed a recalibration of party strategies and political agendas. The Conservative Party, under Disraeli's influence, adapted to the evolving demands of the electorate. The events of 1868 set the stage for a more competitive and dynamic political environment, challenging parties to respond to the shifting priorities of the British people. Disraeli's imperialistic vision and foreign policy initiatives, including the acquisition of shares in the Suez Canal, contributed to the consolidation and strengthening of the British Empire. These geopolitical maneuvers had lasting implications for Britain's global standing, shaping the nation's role in international affairs for years to come. In conclusion, Benjamin Disraeli's role in 1868 and his enduring legacy epitomize the ability of political leaders to adapt, innovate, and shape the course of history. As a statesman, reformer, and visionary, Disraeli left an indelible mark on British politics, influencing not only the Conservative Party but also the broader trajectory of democratic reforms and the nation's role in the world. His legacy continues to be a subject of study and reflection, resonating with those who recognize the complexities of leadership in times of societal change. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it informative, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this in the future.